everyone. Welcome to A Handful of Daisies. If you're new here, I'm Elaine. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. If you like thrift hauls, thrift flips, furniture flips, wood builds, and pretty much everything DIY, you're in the right place. If you aren't already subscribed, I would love for you to join our DIY family. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. For those of you already subscribed, thanks so much for supporting my channel. I appreciate you all. So let's get into this week's project. We're going to start off today using these two pieces of wall decor that I picked up at the Goodwill quite a while back. I'm going to start out by just getting the stickers off. These were $3.99 at the Goodwill. So once I get the stickers off, of course there's still some sticky left on it, so I'm going to use my alcohol to just get that sticky off and then wipe off the rest of it. These are metal, so I wanted to clean them off really well just to make sure that the paint stuck to it. I'm going to be using Dixie, Belle, and Stormy Seas to paint these. It's a really true gray. Now the inside of this piece does have paper on it, but it's adhered really well, so I'm just going to paint over top of it. And the Dixie Belle paint is pretty thick, so I'm going to get pretty good coverage. I think I'm only going to have to do one coat on this. I'm just trying to get down in all of the little nooks and crannies. There is a lot of textured areas. And I am going to highlight those areas at the end. You can see how well this paint is going on. I haven't been thrifting for a while just because I have so much in my stash right now. I'm trying to work through everything I have before I purchase anything additional. I have been to some yard sales though, so I've picked up some furniture pieces that I need to work on, so those will be coming soon. I'm just gonna go ahead and get started on the second one as well. And I do have it on my Lazy Susan. That makes it a lot easier just to spin it around and get all the edges. Once I've finished that, I'm just going to put it to the side, and then I'm going to work on printing out on tissue paper. Now, I've had several people ask me about printing on tissue paper. It's not the easiest thing to do, but I'll show you what I do to make it a little bit easier to go through the printer. So I'm using an 11 by 14 piece of paper, and you can see I'm putting my tissue paper about an inch down from the top. And that helps in my printer to keep it from jamming so bad. Now, it still does jam occasionally. Like I said, this is not the easiest thing to do. I don't do it very often just because it does jam really easy. Now, I have done this in my inkjet and my LaserJet printer, and for me, it prints about the same on both. My LaserJet printer is a little bit of a bigger printer, and it jams the paper a little more than what my inkjet printer does. So I'm just cutting down the sides so you can still see a little bit of the copy paper on the edges. So that gives me somewhere to tape to. Then I'm just going to fold the tape over, and I'm putting a lot of tape all the way around. If you don't tape it all the way around, it's definitely going to jam on you. I'm going to put that in my printer and let that print. You'll see it comes through pretty well. Then we're going to move back to the wall decor pieces, and I'm going to paint the inside white, not the whole inside. I'm just going to randomly paint it just so underneath the tissue paper will be white and it'll show the graphic a little bit better. I'm going to white wax this piece anyway, so it should blend pretty well after I add the white wax. I'm just going to measure out how big of an area I need to put the white underneath. And then of course my go-to, I'm going to dry it with my hair dryer so I can move this along a little bit faster. And then I'm going to cut around the edges to cut the tape off. But instead of just leaving those edges a straight cut, I'm going to use some water just to distress the edges a little bit so it's not such a straight line. So I'm just going to take a paintbrush and some water and just go around all the edges. That just keeps from having such a hard stopping point on the tissue paper. I'm just wetting it all the way around, and then I'm just pulling it apart with my fingers. I'm going to use Mod Podge to put this on with. Now you can may be able to tell that the Mod Podge is not white. I ran out of my regular Mod Podge, so I'm using the Antiquing Mod Podge. It ended up working out okay. I was a little worried that it was going to be yellow behind it, but it ended up drying clear. I'm just doing one side and then folding it over and doing the other side. Then just smoothing it down. And then I'll go around the edges just to make sure I get the edges down really well. And you can see what a difference the white behind the tissue paper makes. Butterflies stand out a whole lot better with the white behind it. Now you could have just done the whole square behind it white, and that would have looked fine too. I just wanted to try something a little different. So I also was out of my white wax, so I'm using clear wax and mixing a little white in that as well to go all the way around. So I'm just trying to get it on really well, and then I'm going to go back and wipe it back a little bit. I'm just using the white wax just to take the starkness of the gray down a little bit so it matches the inside. Here I'm just wiping back some of the wax. I wanted some of the gray to show through so all those details would come through a little bit better. And then once it dries completely, I will go back and wipe it down a little bit more just to smooth out that wax. Here's a look at it so far. So I'm going to put that to the side and go ahead and do the next one. You can see on this one the paper did jam up a little bit, but that's okay. We can still use it. I'll just cut around that piece. Now on this one, I'm not going to wet the edges. I'm just going to leave the edges the way they are. I'm going to go ahead and put some white paint in the middle again. Just measuring out the picture to see where I need to put my white paint. This is one of those projects you just kind of change things up as you go. I wasn't sure when I started exactly how this was going to turn out. You can see I'm just cutting out that extra piece in the middle, and then I'm going to piece the two together and you'll never know it was even there. I'm going to dry it up with my hairdryer again. And then I'm going to Mod Podge this one on as well. Pretty much the same thing I did to the first one. I just wanted to show you on this one that just because you have a cut in your tissue paper doesn't mean that you can't still use it, because you can match them up pretty well. So I'm just going to get the top as close as I could get it, matching up the graphics, and then going around the edges just to make sure I have all the edges down well. And then I'm going to use my white wax again, just like I did on the other one. Mixing up a little additional because I didn't have enough. You can put it on as heavy or as light as you like it. I like to have it heavy in some areas and then light in others, just to give it a little extra dimension. But like I did on the other one, I am going to wipe it back a little bit as well. I'm just bringing back a little bit of that dark gray on the detail areas. Here's a look at how they both turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Have you ever tried printing on tissue paper? I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much for watching. And again, if you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to join our DIY family. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget that notification bell. Thanks and have a great week.